My cheating wife froze in disbelief as I walked into the party with a stunning, elegant woman by my side. Her mouth parted slightly, the fake smile she wore for everyone else melting into a twitch of panic. For the first time in 5 years, I watched Amanda, the woman I married, speechless. And it felt damn good. Her hand, still resting lightly on the arm of that slick-haired guy in the navy blazer, Trent, her trainer, slowly retracted like a snake slithering back into its hole. I almost laughed. She didn't even have time to pull it off smoothly. It was awkward, obvious, guilty. I leaned closer to the woman beside me, Evelyn, tall, elegant, confident, and whispered just loud enough for Amanda to hear. "See her? That's Amanda, the one who thought I'd never find out." Amanda took a step toward me, her stilettos clinking like she was walking over broken glass. "Jake, what is this?" she hissed, trying to sound calm, but her voice cracked at the end. I didn't answer. Not yet. The silence between us stretched just enough to make her squirm. She always needed control. And tonight, I snatched it right out from under her. 2 weeks earlier, I was still clueless. Still the husband who made her coffee every morning, kissed her forehead before work, sent stupid texts with heart emojis like some naive puppy. And she'd look me in the eye and lie without blinking. The night I found out, I wasn't even suspicious. I'd come home early from a late client meeting. I wanted to surprise her with takeout and maybe a slow night on the couch. But when I walked in, the place smelled like cologne that wasn't mine and the bedroom light was on. She wasn't there. The bed was freshly made, tighter than she ever bothered to do it. I checked the hamper. Nothing. Checked her closet. 2 outfits gone, heels and a cocktail dress that she never wore for me anymore. Then I saw it. Her phone. She'd left it charging on the nightstand. And God must have been watching, because the screen lit up with a notification. "Can't wait to taste you again tonight, babe, T." That was it. My blood stopped. The air around me turned to static. I opened the message. Dozens. No passcode. Just filth. Filth and betrayal, and photos that made me drop the phone like it burned. It was Trent, that smug trainer I'd paid for, because she said working out helped with her mood swings. He was bending her every which way in texts, calling her things she told me she hated. She sent him a pic in my shirt. The one she wore after we had real moments. The shirt I thought meant something. And that night, as I sat in the dark living room with the TV on mute, waiting for her to come back with lies painted across her lips, I made a decision. I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't scream. I'd destroy her with silence. So I waited. Waited while she snuck in at 1:42 a.m., thinking I was asleep. Watched her tiptoe like a teenager breaking curfew. Watched her toss her clutch on the counter, take off her heels, and whisper, "Idiot," under her breath. She didn't even know I was right there. I stood, and she froze mid-step. "Jake." I didn't say a word. Just looked her dead in the eyes, nodded slowly, and walked past her into our room. I started planning that night. Called Evelyn the next day, a friend from college, now a model-turned-entrepreneur who owed me a favor. She loved the idea. "You want to ruin her socially," she said. Say no more. Now here we were, at this charity gala Amanda had begged me to attend 2 months ago, acting like the perfect couple in front of people who didn't know she was stabbing me in the back. She had no idea I still had the invite. She had no idea I'd show up with someone who made her look like background noise. As I strolled past her and that sweaty coward of a side piece, I turned slightly and smiled. "Nice to see you again, Trent." Didn't realize personal training had such personal benefits. He blinked. Amanda opened her mouth. And Evelyn, bless her, leaned in and whispered, "Babe, let's not waste time on yesterday's trash." It was in that moment, when Amanda's eyes welled up, not with guilt, but fury, that I knew. She was the kind of woman who hated getting caught more than she hated cheating. She tried to follow me through the crowd, heels clicking fast like she was chasing down her own reputation. I could hear her muttering my name, "Jake, Jake, wait," like saying it would undo everything. I didn't stop. I led Evelyn right past the donors, right past the hosts, and straight to the balcony, where the air was cold and real, not thick with fake smiles and champagne. Amanda finally caught up, grabbing my arm with nails that used to trace my spine and now dug in like claws. I turned slowly. "What the hell was that?" she demanded, her voice a shaky mess of anger and panic. "Who is she?" "You mean Evelyn?" I said coolly. "An old friend. She's been helping me see things clearly." "You don't get to humiliate me like that," Amanda snapped, her face turning red beneath her perfect makeup. I laughed. I couldn't help it. "Oh, I don't." That's rich coming from someone who played mattress games with a guy half her IQ behind my back. She flinched. Her eyes darted to Evelyn, then back to me. Jake, this isn't the place. Neither was our bedroom, but that didn't stop you, I cut in, lowering my voice. Tell me, Amanda, did you even care if I found out? Or were you just bored? Don't turn this around on me, she hissed. You've been distant for months. I felt alone. And instead of talking to me, you let some gym bro rearrange your priorities. Evelyn gave her a smirk. Amanda looked like she wanted to claw it off her face. I made a mistake, she finally said, crossing her arms. One. And it didn't mean anything. One. I said, leaning in. You want to tell me which one was sending you messages about hotel room numbers every Friday night? Or the one where you moaned about how I was too nice and boring, while Trent gave you the thrill of being someone's dirty secret? Her lips tightened. She realized I knew everything. Her whole face dropped for a second, then, just like that, she flipped. You're pathetic, she said. Dragging me here like this? You're so insecure you had to put on a show with some Barbie doll just to feel like a man again. Better than crawling into a side piece's bed just to feel something, I shot back. For a moment, we both stood there. Not husband and wife. Just two people standing in the ruins of what we used to be. And damn, it burned. I looked at her, really looked. The woman I'd built a life with. The woman I'd shared secrets with. And all I could see now was a liar wrapped in designer clothes, trying to cry her way out of consequences. I want a divorce, I said. Her eyes widened. She hadn't expected that. You're overreacting. No, I said. I'm finally reacting. She laughed, bitter and cold. You think anyone's going to want you after this? After your little pity party act? I turned to Evelyn. She raised an eyebrow. You're wrong, I told Amanda. I already want me. That's more than I can say for the last few years living under your manipulation. She stared at me like she didn't recognize the man in front of her. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she only ever loved the version of me that bowed to her chaos and kept quiet. I walked away then, left her standing there, alone, with her pretty lies unraveling one thread at a time. Inside the ballroom, Evelyn squeezed my hand. You good? I nodded. I wasn't, not fully. But I would be. As we reached the exit, I could feel Amanda's eyes boring into my back like she was trying to drag me down with a look. But I didn't turn around. Not anymore. The drive home was silent, but it wasn't empty. Evelyn didn't ask questions. She didn't need to. I was breathing again for the first time in months, maybe years, and the weight that had been pressing on my chest finally cracked loose. I dropped her off with a soft thank you, no explanations. She didn't press for one. Just touched my shoulder before stepping out into the night like some guardian that came exactly when I needed her and disappeared just as easily. When I walked into the house, it was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that wraps around you like a noose. Amanda wasn't home yet. She probably stayed back, sulking or spiraling, maybe calling her snake of a trainer for comfort, or to vent about how I dared to fight back. I sat in the kitchen, same place I used to wait for her with dinner. Same damn chair, same view of the fridge covered in photos that meant nothing now. I stared at one of them, our anniversary in Tahoe. Her smile was wide, her eyes sparkling. I'd taken that photo thinking I was capturing a memory. Now I just saw the lie. She came home 2 hours later. Slammed the door like she paid the mortgage. Walked in like I hadn't just shattered her double life. You humiliated me, she said first. No apology. No regret. Just fury. I turned to her, slowly. Good. She blinked. Good. I stood. Yeah. Because the only thing worse than being cheated on is pretending like it never happened just to protect your image. You're throwing away everything, she hissed, stepping closer. For what? Some attention? I laughed. She still didn't get it. Amanda, you already threw it away. I'm just putting it in the trash where it belongs. She stared at me, and for the first time, I saw her rage give way to panic. You're not serious. Jake, you don't throw away 5 years over a mistake. It wasn't a mistake, I said. It was a pattern. You just never thought I'd catch on. She tried to touch my arm. I stepped back. Her face tightened. Jake, you've always been emotional. You twist things in your head. That's what this is. You need time. You've been lying to my face for over a year, I snapped. You think I need time? I needed truth, and you sold me fairy tales while you let another man undress you behind my back. Her mouth opened, closed. She had nothing. And then, like the devil had tapped her shoulder, she smirked. You know what? Fine. You want a divorce? Great. Maybe I'll finally have a man who isn't so goddamn needy. I nodded. Perfect. And maybe I'll have a woman who doesn't treat marriage like a side quest. She rolled her eyes, walked toward the bedroom, muttering something under her breath. And that's when I followed. I packed your things, I said, standing in the doorway. She stopped, turned slowly. You what? I packed your things. They're in the guest room. Movers come in the morning. She blinked. You can't do that. I just did. She crossed her arms. This house is half mine. For now. But trust me, you'll walk away with a hell of a lot less than you think. You wouldn't. I would. And I've already got a lawyer. So go ahead, call Trent. Maybe you two can share his one-bedroom apartment once he gets fired for screwing a client's wife. Her jaw clenched. You're cruel. No, I said, stepping closer. You just finally ran into someone who stopped letting you get away with being heartless. She stormed off, slammed the guest room door behind her, and for the first time in a long time, I slept soundly in my own damn bed. Alone. Peacefully. And when I woke up, I didn't check my phone to see where she was. Because I didn't care anymore. The next morning, the sky outside was dull and gray, like it knew the storm inside these walls wasn't over. I got up early, brewed a pot of coffee, and sat at the kitchen table with the quiet hum of the refrigerator as background noise. The air felt clearer. Still heavy, yeah, but breathable. At 9:03 a.m. sharp, the movers showed up. Amanda didn't even come out to say a word. She waited upstairs like a damn princess in a castle that was about to get demolished. I didn't blame the movers for the confused glances. They probably sensed the tension bleeding through the drywall. I walked into the guest room where her things were already boxed. I'd packed them the night before with the same calm you use when cleaning up after a house fire, methodical, detached, burnt on the inside but steady on the outside. Everything she ever called hers, clothes, shoes, makeup, even the framed photo of us from Hawaii, I shoved it all into boxes labeled, Amanda. No frills. No notes. Halfway through, she finally came downstairs, sunglasses on indoors like her ego needed a shield. What the hell do you think you're doing? She asked, arms crossed over a designer hoodie that probably still smelled like him. I told you. Movers. This morning, I said, not even looking up. She scoffed. You really think you can just erase me from this house like I was a bad memory? I paused, met her eyes. Amanda, you didn't become a memory. You became a lesson. That hit. I saw her mouth twitch, but she swallowed whatever venom she was preparing to spit. You know what? She said, pacing like a trapped cat. Maybe this is good. Maybe we both needed out. I nodded. We did. I just didn't realize it until I saw you pretending to be in love with someone else while calling me your rock. She smiled, cold and cutting. You were never a rock. You were a routine. And just like that, I realized she wasn't even trying to fix it. She wasn't sorry. She didn't want to be forgiven. She wanted to win. Even now, standing in the ruins of what we built, she wanted to come out on top, like this was a game she could still score points in. The movers finished in under an hour. She left without another word, stepping into a black SUV like a ghost sliding back into the dark. And me? I stood in the doorway as the engine faded down the block, hands in my pockets, chest hollow but light. It was over, but the pain didn't leave with her. The next few days blurred together, paperwork, lawyer calls, emails that made my hands shake. Nights were the worst. The silence screamed. My phone was dry. No, I love you. No fake affection. No text at all. At first, I checked. Out of habit. Then I stopped. Because even my phone was tired of pretending. On the fifth night, I found myself scrolling through our old photos. Honeymoon in Cancun. Christmas by the fire. That one dumb picture of us in matching hoodies that I used to love and now wanted to burn. I watched our smiles twist into lies, and my stomach turned. But something shifted in me. This wasn't just betrayal. This wasn't just about her and Trent or what she did in the dark. It was about me forgetting who the hell I was. I gave her everything, hoping it'd make her happy. I shrank myself to keep her content. I made excuses for her coldness, her sarcasm, her emotional distance. I thought love meant sacrifice. But I was the only one bleeding on that altar. I'd been living in a one-sided fantasy. A make-believe marriage where I gave and she took. And now, standing in the aftermath, I wasn't even sad about losing her. I was sad about losing me. So that night, I opened a new document on my laptop. I wrote down everything. Not for court. Not for revenge. Just for me. The lies. The warning signs. The way I gaslit myself into believing I was lucky to have her. I listed it all out like a confession to myself. And at the bottom of the page, I typed, next time, choose peace over pretty. And I meant it. 2 weeks passed. Her scent was gone from the pillows. The closet, once overflowing with dresses and shoes she'd never wear for me, sat half empty like a museum of silence. I stopped sleeping on my side of the bed. Started sleeping in the middle, like I was reclaiming my space inch by inch. Then, one Thursday afternoon, I got the message. We need to talk. Face to face. Amanda. I stared at it for a long time. Not because I was confused. I knew exactly what this was. The panic phase. When the thrill fades, when the fling starts asking questions, and when reality crawls in through the cracks. I didn't respond. I waited. Next day, she called. I let it ring. Then, that evening, she showed up. Unannounced. Same coat she wore on our 3rd anniversary. She stood at the door like she was still entitled to be let in. Like this was still her castle. I opened the door. Didn't move. Just stared. She smiled, fake and nervous. Hi. I didn't say anything. Can I come in? She asked. No. She blinked. Jake, please. I just need 10 minutes. I sighed, stepped outside, and pulled the door shut behind me. 10. We stood on the porch like strangers on a battlefield. She looked thinner. Or maybe just worn out. Not my problem anymore. I made a mistake, she said. A real one. And I know I don't deserve anything from you, but I can't stop thinking about everything. About us. I nodded. I believe you made a mistake. Many, actually. I didn't know what I was doing, she said quickly, like she'd rehearsed it. Trent. It wasn't real. It was stupid. He made me feel wanted. I cut in. Excited? Desired? Yeah. I read the messages. You don't need to explain the kind of thrill you were chasing. She shut her mouth. I was angry, she continued. I thought maybe you'd moved on too fast with that woman. Evelyn. You knew how that would look. I stared at her. You had your secret for a year. I had mine for one night. Let's not pretend we're even. She looked down. Then back up. I miss you. No, Amanda. You miss what I gave you. You miss the version of me that let you walk all over him and called it love. She winced. Good. I wanted it to sting. You can hate me if it helps, she said. I don't, I answered. I don't hate you. I pity you. That broke her. Her chin trembled. Do you love me at all? I loved the person I thought you were. That version? I would have taken a bullet for her. But she never existed. She looked like she might collapse. But I wasn't holding her up anymore. She took a deep breath, reached into her coat, and pulled out a letter. I wrote this. You don't have to read it now. Or ever. But it's everything. The truth. What I felt. What I lied about. I took the envelope, folded it, and put it in my jacket pocket without a word. Then I opened the door, stepped inside, and closed it. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't look back. Later that night, I took the letter out, stared at it under the kitchen light. I didn't open it. Just watched the paper like it might suddenly scream an apology that sounded real. Then I lit a match. Watched it burn slow in the sink, curling into black ash. No closure. No final words. Just fire. That was all she ever gave me. And now I gave it back. Let her live in the silence she created. A month later, I stood in front of the mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. The bags under my eyes were lighter. My shoulders straighter. I didn't flinch every time my phone buzzed. I didn't sleep with tension clenched in my jaw, waiting for some imaginary storm to hit. The papers came in on a Wednesday. Finalized. Signed by a judge who didn't know either of us, but made our split official with a stamp and a date. Just like that, 5 years collapsed into a few lines of legal text and a cold signature. I didn't celebrate. I didn't cry. I just sat at the table, laid the envelope flat, and whispered to myself, done. That weekend, I got a call from Ethan, my best friend, the guy who warned me once, months ago, Jake, she doesn't look at you the way you look at her anymore. I told him to shut up back then. I told him he didn't get it. Turned out he did. Better than I ever wanted to admit. We met up for drinks, something we hadn't done since before the whole mess. I told him everything, no edits, no tough guy act, no pride. He listened, didn't interrupt, and then finally said, you know, man, I watched you die a little every month. You're breathing now. I can see it. That hit hard. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was true. There's a type of dying no one notices. The kind where your spirit bleeds out slowly from betrayal, from emotional starvation, from pretending things are fine just to avoid confrontation. I had lived in that silence for too long. The next morning, I woke up to a message from a number I didn't recognize. It was a picture. Amanda. On a yacht. Sitting on Trent's lap. She was laughing. He was drinking. Below it, just one sentence. Thought you'd want to see who she picked. No name. No signature. I stared at it for a while. Not angry. Not jealous. Just blank. I deleted it. Because it didn't matter anymore. She picked him, sure. But I picked me. I spent the next few weeks cleaning house. Physically and mentally. Donated every photo, every keepsake, every fake little token of a love that turned out to be a performance. I scrubbed the apartment. Repainted the walls. Bought new sheets. Got rid of that damn hoodie she used to steal. Even my Spotify looked different now. No more sappy playlists we made on road trips. Just silence. Jazz. Heavy metal. Whatever I felt like in the moment. One afternoon, I passed by a couple at a coffee shop. They were sitting on the same side of the booth, holding hands, laughing over something dumb. For a second, it stung. But then I reminded myself, I loved like that once. Fully. Completely. It wasn't my fault she didn't return it. What I gave wasn't wrong. What she did with it was. A few nights later, I got dinner with Evelyn. Nothing romantic. Just two people who saw each other clearly now. She clinked her glass with mine and said, "You survived." I smiled. Barely. Better than most. I nodded. She tried to gut me, Ev. But all she did was set me free. She raised an eyebrow. You think she regrets it? I shrugged. Maybe. Maybe not. Either way, it's not my problem anymore. And I meant it. Every word. Because love shouldn't come with punishment. Trust shouldn't be a weapon. And the moment someone treats your heart like a disposable toy, they never deserved it to begin with. Amanda might have thought she was breaking me. But in the end, she gave me something far better than what I ever had with her. She gave me back me. A few months passed. Spring rolled in like a quiet apology from the universe, and for once, I felt ready to accept it. The trees outside my apartment were blooming again. The mornings came easier, and I wasn't waking up to shadows of her anymore. Then one evening, as I was coming back from the gym, I saw her. Amanda. Standing outside my building. No warning. No message, just standing there like she had a right to still exist in my world. She wasn't dressed to impress. No makeup, no drama. Just a black hoodie, jeans, and the same empty eyes I used to mistake for depth. She looked up. Hi. I didn't say anything. Just kept walking until I was a few feet away. I know I shouldn't be here, she added quickly, hands shoved in her pockets like she was trying to keep them from shaking. But I've been thinking about everything. And I had to see you. I sighed. Why now? She hesitated. Because it didn't end right. I almost laughed. It ended exactly how it was supposed to. No, Jake. You don't get it. He wasn't who I thought he was. And you were. That shut her up for a second. She shifted her weight from one foot to the other. He cheated on me. There it was. The twist. The irony. The karmic boomerang. I didn't flinch. I didn't gloat. I just looked her in the eyes. So? Her jaw clenched. So? I get it now. No, I said, stepping closer. You get what it feels like to be you. You don't get me. You never did. She blinked rapidly, like tears were building, but I wasn't falling for it again. That well was dry. I'm not here to get back together, she whispered. Good. But I needed to tell you I'm sorry. I nodded once. Then say it. I'm sorry, Jake. I lied. I disrespected you. I destroyed something good, and I know I can't undo it. But I just needed you to know it wasn't because you weren't enough. It was because I wasn't. That I didn't expect. It didn't heal anything. But it landed. I stayed silent for a moment, then said, Thanks for saying that. We stood there. Two ghosts talking in the flesh. She looked down. Are you seeing anyone? I didn't answer right away. Because the truth was, I wasn't. Not really. But I was free. I was learning myself all over again. And that meant more than any rebound. I'm seeing peace, I finally said. And I'm not trading it for chaos. She gave a small, sad smile. You really have changed. No, I said. I just stopped shrinking. Amanda nodded slowly. Then she turned and walked away. No hugs. No promises. No final words. Just distance. I watched her go until she disappeared around the corner. And right then, I realized closure doesn't always come in forgiveness. Sometimes, it comes in watching the storm that once wrecked you walk away with nothing left to break. That night, I opened my window, let the spring air in, and played a playlist I'd made just for me. No memories attached. No shared meaning. Just music that made me feel alive. Because I was. And for the first time in a long, long time, I wasn't surviving. I was living. Weeks melted into months. The kind of peace I once thought was a myth started to feel normal. I didn't look over my shoulder anymore. I didn't wake up thinking about her face, or his name, or the things I'd said in the heat of betrayal. The ghosts got quieter. I traveled. Nothing fancy, just places I used to say I'd visit, one day. Took my time. Sat by oceans. Ate alone without feeling lonely. I learned how to be with myself again without needing someone to fill the silence. That was new. That was powerful. People asked sometimes, coworkers, old friends, even distant cousins, what happened. I gave them the short version. We grew apart. Let them imagine the details. Not because I was protecting her, but because I didn't need to keep bleeding just to prove I'd been wounded. One night, I got a message from a number I didn't know. A woman named Clara. A friend of Amanda's, apparently. She wrote, "I know this is random, but I wanted to tell you something. I always saw how Amanda treated you. I don't know how you stayed as long as you did. You deserved better. Still do." I stared at that message for a long time. Not because I needed her validation, but because it reminded me other people saw it too. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't weak. I was loyal. And that loyalty had been abused. I replied with 2 words. Thank you. Closure wasn't a moment. It wasn't Amanda crying on my doorstep or some poetic final kiss. It was 1,000 little choices, deleting her photos without shaking, not checking her socials, smiling when I passed a couple and feeling hope instead of bitterness. It was learning that healing is slow, quiet, and deeply personal. The final piece clicked into place the night I walked past a wedding in the park. The bride was laughing, spinning under lights, music echoing into the dark. For a second, I felt a twist in my chest. Not pain, not envy, just memory. Then I smiled. Because I didn't see Amanda in that dress. I saw possibility. And I knew, deep down, that when love comes again, and it will, I'll be ready. Wiser. Stronger. No longer looking for someone to complete me. Just someone to walk beside me, equal and real. So if you're reading this, and you're where I was, lost, betrayed, questioning your worth, listen closely. You are not broken. You are not stupid for loving deeply. And you sure as hell don't owe anyone your silence. The right person will never make you feel like you're too much. The wrong one will always make you feel like you're not enough. Learn the difference. Walk away with dignity. And remember, losing someone who lied to you is not a loss. It's freedom. I didn't just survive her. I outgrew her. And that, right there, is the best revenge of all.